Today is Wednesday, March the 11th, 2020. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Winners at War, Week 5.
This episode was titled The Buddy System on Steroids. Anybody remembering Redemption Island knows that that's a reference to a phrase that Rob came up with. But this time is actually spoken by Sarah, at least that particular phrase. It's Dakal, day 12. Tony's down on the beach. It's early morning. He's clearing the debris from the fishing net, getting ready for another day of catching fish, Sandra style. Meanwhile, Sandra's up in the camp, and they're celebrating almost a third of the way through. Nick tells us he's relieved. He appreciates that fire token from Tyson, and it seemed to change his view of Tyson. So now he's thinking he might even could work with him.
Yep.
Which I would say, big mistake. Don't be a dum-dum.
Well, under some circumstances, but they would both go after each other, so whatever.
Yeah, a little bit of a touching moment here with Yul and Sarah and Wendell talking.
Oh, yeah.
They're up in camp, and Yul starts talking about how he was worried coming into the season because he's not really close to anyone but Penner, and then he tells a story about Penner's wife, Stacy, and how she has ALS, and he's recounting all the challenges that she's dealing with, that they're dealing with because of that disease, and it kind of overwhelms him.
Yeah, that's in Jonathan. I love Jonathan. You and I both do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when we were hanging out with him once down at one of the finales, and you and I were like, we want to see Stacy play.
Meaning his wife, not me.
His wife, Stacy, yes.
Yeah.
We thought, we think she'd be really good too.
Yeah. And he ends up getting comfort from both Wendell and Sarah.
Yeah, well, that's a sad ordeal. And I'm not sure as far as gameplay if that was a wise move to let them know about that he would donate the money.
He didn't say that. I don't think he...
Yeah, you don't think he said that?
Explicitly said that there. I was
that
listening
he would
for
want
that.
To help him.
Yeah,
Okay.
although when you start hearing the details of the story, you kind of lose perspective.
Yeah.
And so I did too.
Yeah, it overshadows it. So I hadn't really thought about it.
We'll go back and watch, but I don't think he explicitly said that. He said, maybe in a couple decades, with a lot of help, they could find a cure for it.
Well, he has said that since.
Yes, but
that he would donate the money.
You're conflating those things, and I don't think he said that to them for the exact reason that you're stating.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Well, and I think it was very compelling for Jonathan and Stacy to come on and support.
Yeah, I'm glad they're getting some support.
ALS.
Yeah, and being able to get that support from
more
CBS.
Research. Yeah.
Yeah, and to get that message out there.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome, man. She's able to go ahead and do that too. So
definitely going on the prayer list.
Yeah. Okay, they're back there on that spit of sand. Probst tells them, hey, we formed tribes last time. Let's just do that again while we're here.
Drop your buffs, and I believe I was correct.
Are you saying
Didn't I say there was... I called 3 tribes, you called 2 last week.
I don't... yeah, if you want to take credit for that, then
I'm going to.
You go right ahead.
I am.
I don't think you were alone.
No, not at all. But what I'm saying is, you and we called it.
As I recall...
You said 2, and I said...
We were talking about the possibilities. I didn't see that as you making
you need to go back
a bold prediction that there would be 3
You need to go back and listen. Because we called it.
That's totally you. Let's check that box for you, baby.
Hey,
it never
I need a
occurred to
box,
me.
so
It never occurred to
this
me
is
or
mine.
so many other people, I'm sure.
You got another 5-point week. You can give me that.
All years, Rob, I skipped over that, but Rob and Michele both looked a little shocked. At least Michele feigned some shock, and Rob looked genuinely shocked that Tyson was gone. And then Rob, we get a quick confessional from Rob that we'd already seen, where he's talking about how he doesn't like these. He's got history with swaps and switches, and they haven't gone in
They
his
do
favor.
not have fond memories of them.
All right, how did it break down? We got the new Yara Green Tribe. Who's on that one?
Rob, Sarah, Ben, Adam, and Sophie.
And got that split between Rob, Ben, and Adam from Old Sele, and then Sarah and Sophie from Old Dakal. So the guys appear to have a numbers advantage.
The girls couldn't have got with 3 people who were more split and
Crackable?
divided. Yes.
Since crack ends up being a term.
They were crackled.
Yeah.
And on the red tribe,
New Dakal.
Sandra's still over there, Tony's still over there, and Kim and Jeremy and Denise joined them.
Mm-hmm. And New Sele, the Blue Tribe.
I was thinking, wow, if they go to tribal, Tony's gone. Denise got an idol. Jeremy can walk away. Sandra's got an idol. Kim's got an idol.
It'd be devastation time,
That'd
huh?
be Sari all over again. You're the only one that doesn't have safety, so it's you.
Yeah. Yep, that could potentially be exciting.
It's like, whoa.
And then we've got New Sele, the Blue Tribe, which originally had Michele and Parv, and now has added Wendell, Yul, and Nick. How convenient that Nick ends up on there with his crush, and Wendell ends up there with an ex-girlfriend.
Awkward.
Don't jump ahead to that. We're gonna get there. I know you want to talk about that.
Awkward.
Yep.
Awkward.
And Sandra responds to one of Prope's questions about how happy she is to have the numbers because it'd be real easy to take people out, and then she catches herself.
And Wendell says nothing about his former friend. He just says, hey, Dakal has the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you right away where his mind is going.
Adam tells us this could not be a more fractured trio with him and Ben and Rob together.
That's true. That's
they have
what
the majority, but they are the least united members of Sele. Yeah, that a combination you could come up with.
Yep.
That was pretty fun. Okay, now we go visit each tribe. Still on day 12 as they arrive back at their new camps, or at camp for some of them.
Jeremy was talking about how their shelter and how amazing it was. What happened on Sele with the shelter?
With
You got Rob.
Right. Well, I think maybe he built himself out last season.
Yeah, he said,
And then,
nah.
we're going
I
to
don't
sleep down
care.
on the beach, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter that we finish this.
Well, Jeremy was thrilled with the shelter. And he and Denise immediately start trying to see where the fractures are.
Yeah, Jeremy says he's looking for a big mug of information.
I did like his moving on up.
That was a good one. Yeah. Yeah.
So they're sussing things out there with who's on the bottom or who's fractured, and Denise is doing the same thing. She approaches Kim.
Well, we get both of them. Jeremy goes
Yeah.
to her. Seems, at least in the sequence, he talks to her first, and it becomes evident that he asks her a simple "trust them" question, right? And you could tell by the way she hesitated that she had
like,
answered.
"Mm."
You got to be careful. Yeah.
Well, so
But then
boy.
her and Denise, it seemed like they were forming a real bond, right?
Yeah, I
it was
thought they were. Yeah.
It was brief, but that seemed like they had something going. The two idol holders who don't realize that they're both finders of
Not yet, they
reunited friendship idols. Yeah.
Wow, that huge eel Kim caught.
Magnificent. Way to go, Kim. Yeah, she's definitely providing for her tribe.
Absolutely. That looked like a total feast. So Kim tells us, hey, I'm in the middle. That could be good for me.
Mm-hmm.
She can go either way she wants to.
You see Sandra and Tony talking, and Tony's got his story, which could have certainly been featured at Tribal Council had they gone, and may yet be, where he tells us about the lions and the hyenas. And so Tyson's big target, and meat shields and all that discussion definitely is still stuck in Tony's head. I think he's probably thinking he made a mistake about now losing that cover. But he's telling Sandra, we got to be really careful. These hyenas are going to come in. We're the lions, and they're going to take us out.
Well, but Tony's got Jeremy now, so that's not a bad meat shield at all.
And like you were saying, Kim finds herself in the middle, so she's doing good. And she seemed to play that really smooth with Tony. She's totally with him. Yep, big threats. We got to stay loyal. You bet, Tony.
Back over to Sele. Nick feels like he won the lottery because he's so close to Wendell and Yul. And Parvati's just trying to get in with the new guys and feel...
Looking for cracks.
Yep. And trying to get to know them and talk to everyone.
I love that exchange Parvati had with Yul.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, where he tells her, yeah, my wife, you're my wife's favorite survivor.
And then he looked like, I can't believe I said that.
Yeah.
Why did I say that? I'm fangirling.
I'm sure, I don't think he was feeling that necessarily.
No, I think he was too. That he told her.
He won the season they were in originally together.
I know.
He doesn't have a fangirl reaction to Parvati.
I don't know about that.
You're making stuff up. Maybe his wife would.
I don't know about that. Well,
but what was funny when he was talking about his wife Sophie, not the Sophie that's here, which that was a dimension that we weren't aware of. And I can imagine that discussion between him going to her and going, "Really, Sophie? She's your favorite survivor?"
No,
but you would do that exact same thing to me. That's what I thought. If I had been on and played, your favorite survivor would not be me. You would have said the same thing.
That's not true.
That is absolutely true.
I'm always your champion.
Oh, look, there's something I could bond with Yul about.
You're so full of it.
Uh-huh.
That's all in your head.
Got it.
You know I would be totally supportive.
Nick twists his story around when he was asked about if they were in awe of people. He goes right to wanting to tell her that he had a crush. He just changed it around.
Surely he's not going to... No, he's not going to say that. That's just dumb. He had to say it.
It's all about the crush. Parv's replying her confessional, awkward.
Yeah. Well, the fact that he had a crush on her as a woman when he was in high school kind of points out that you're the older woman. Mm-hmm. She's probably not used to being looked at as the older woman.
Okay. Maybe there's some dimension to that.
By the child.
I thought she just meant in terms of in relation to him. It felt awkward.
It was awkward.
He's awkward.
That way, too.
Yeah.
All awkward.
Speaking of awkward.
It's like, my husband's watching this, right?
She went to try to talk to Wendell, and his response was, I move slowly when he was responding to Parv.
Awkward.
Yeah.
That was Wendell. I've never seen Wendell like that.
No, I don't think we have. And if you thought that was bad, just wait till the next beat here when he's talking to Michele. And she seems fine. And she's quizzing him, hey, you're stranded with me now on the beach. And he lost his ability to talk. And the only thing he did get out was, well, we shouldn't talk. And
what did you want me to do?
Refers to it in
come and talk to you right when I get on the beach?
The first second on the beach.
Sure.
And then he generalizes it as a pre-existing relationship. He
did not call it a relationship at all.
He was talking about there were lots of pre-existing relationships this season.
Yes.
So I took it to mean that he's including...
That's as close as he came to relationship. He didn't really admit to a relationship with her.
And he was looking at the broader terms of the game.
Had a relationship with him.
Right.
I think it was just kind of, we hung out.
They kicked it, is what he said. Yeah.
Is that how he said they kicked it?
Yeah.
Okay, they kicked it in his mind. In her mind, they were in a relationship.
That's what the kids say. Yes.
Well, I don't have kids.
Boy, she didn't hold back at all either when she was talking to Parv. She just sort of laid it out.
Yeah, you don't. You tell your girlfriends. Say, yeah, and he did me wrong.
Right.
He broke my trust in real life, and he hurt me.
Told Parv that Wendell was...
I'm going to taunt him. I'm going to undress and taunt him in my or my underwear.
Even
yeah.
before that, she was posturing, shoulders back,
Yeah, she
hips
was.
front, all that when she first was talking to him.
She had a little attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she knew to put up her guards. That's her putting up her guards for
Okay.
someone that she feels hurt her. What the truth is we don't know. But the way he's stammering and stuttering, I think there may be some
We
merit
thought Ben had
to
trouble
that. Yeah.
talking to her.
Is that blue?
Definitely Wendell did. Yep.
Yep.
Or at least the editors decided to emphasize those parts.
Well, they did, but he gave them to them. So, he did have those reactions.
Moving on, let's go check out Yara there on
Let's
day 12,
do
the
it.
new green tribe. So we got 3 Sele and 2 Dakal.
Rob handled it, I thought, pretty good, talking about the Amber vote out, but he wanted details.
He seemed to be getting lots of information from them.
Yep.
And then they flipped it.
It was Tyson.
What
It's all Tyson.
Right.
Her name hadn't even been
And
brought up.
then the
It was
Tyson
just
vote was
Tyson.
unanimous.
Yep.
And then they get quizzed on the Ethan vote. Or actually, Adam kind of volunteers it, and then they all fumble around it, making it apparent that
Well, but Rob voted for me. I voted for Ethan, but
they were not united at all, and quickly putting that on display for Sophie and Sarah.
I can't imagine two women who would read them any better than Sophie and Sarah together. I was thinking, oh guys, these girls are gonna crush you. Just give them a little
I was
leeway, and they're just gonna crush you.
right. I was very optimistic at how this next sequence played out, where they were like pairing up and having conversations. Sarah's talking to Ben, and they're both zeroing in on Rob, and Rob's talking to Sophie, and he's throwing Adam under the bus. But then Sophie is talking to Adam and saying, "I don't want to play with Rob," and I had Rob as my vote out. So I was remaining optimistic at this point. This seemed like a good, rich development to me.
Well, you should, because you had Rob going. So
And now they're at a new beach. Everyone recognizes it, or at least Sophie and Sarah do first, and they kick it into gear looking for the idol that would be there on Yara Beach. Were you surprised?
that they found the idol.
I was surprised that Sophie found it and that quick being there, yes. And it turns out it's the same kind that she had with Kim, where
Yes.
it's the BFF idol
There
again.
was one of those on all three islands.
Right, so she's got to give a half away. Now she understands the dilemma. She tells us that Kim was in, but she makes a quick decision
Well-
to give it to Sarah.
More importantly, this is where we find out that Kim indeed does have the full idol back.
Right.
They have activated it, and it's now
That Sarah had returned that half, and
good
now
to go. Yeah.
Kim's in possession of a full hidden immunity idol.
We were hoping that maybe Sarah would pull something with it that would be funny.
Well, in terms of, we were talking about while the commercial came on, how ironic it was. Sophie was so ecstatic when Kim came to her, and then talking about how she should have never trusted Sophie.
Came to the devil.
And now here's Sophie going to
Sarah.
the person who's demonstrated the ability of, once you share some information about something that you have,
I will use it against you.
yes, I will take it from you. And so that seemed to put Sophie in a predicament that she seemed to be unaware of. It seemed even more dangerous than
Yeah.
Kim trusting Sophie with Sophie
Well,
trusting
I was
Sarah.
always terrified of Sarah, but I didn't think about Sophie being up to her standards, but she's looking up to her standards. So that's pretty good.
Okay.
I think my opinion on Sophie has changed.
Changing. We skipped day 13, so everybody got their camp day 12. Some stuff happened on day 13. Maybe we'll get some insight in the extra videos this week. We go right to day 14. Time for the community challenge. What did you think of this challenge?
It was good. Difficult, but good.
When they're eyeballing it coming in, Wendell tells Nick, "Hey, get that arm ready, Nicholas." He could tell right away they're going to be throwing.
Yep.
So they got to race through some obstacles. They got to do under-overs. They got to climb up a rope ladder and then down a big net, do one of those roll down the net things, and then pick up sandbags. And there's 4 big colored blocks, and on top of those are some smaller blocks. They got to throw the sandbags, and eventually knock those 4 colored blocks off that has different colors on the sides.
All the blocks.
And then, they've got to knock them all off the ledge up there, and then they've got to take those 4 biggest blocks and stack them in a way so that no color is repeated on a side. First 2 tribes to do that get immunity, and then the loser goes to tribal council.
And there are even tribes, so no one sits out.
That's right.
Sandra's throne will be waiting next week.
Okay, so they start going through the obstacle course. Who was it that was having all the trouble?
It looked like Kim had trouble climbing over to get up on the net. You know what was impressive was Rob came over the top of that, rolled a couple times sideways, and
Bounced up, right?
Bounced up and ran on down.
Yeah, he seemed
I
to
was
do
like,
that good.
oh man, that's good. That could have gone badly.
Ben and Rob did really well on the throwing too. They quickly got all their blocks knocked off, and then they set about working on the puzzle.
Yep.
With Adam and Sophie doing that.
Dakal was way behind, but then they caught up.
Sele ended up being second to start on stacking their blocks, and Dakal was struggling, but they did catch up. Wendell and Parvati.
Parvati did great.
Yeah, she seemed to have a sense of that puzzle right off the bat, because she saw that one block. She's like, oh, that's the last one.
Piece.
The top block. And so they seemed to scoot right through that. They did really good. They finished first. And Sophie and Adam ended up starting completely over. We've certainly seen that happen more than once this season.
Well,
so they had a do-over, and Dakal ends up coming from behind.
That kind of reminds you of Sophie on the puzzle last week.
So
And they took it apart.
Ends up with Sele and Dakal. So Yara is going to go to tribal council.
They are indeed.
The skull goes to Sele, and the crossbones goes to Dakal. It was nice how it broke apart, although I think that was a different one. The eyes looked a little different. So
I think they were just so tired. Not because they built another shelter, because it didn't look like they built shelter, but they did spend a lot of energy looking for the idol. So
you think that hurt them, huh?
It might have.
But that's the thing. That was they made us think that was 2 days ago, that all happened on day 12.
Yeah.
So there was a potential rest day or something else was going on there. Rob tells us after the challenge is over, even though he's going to tribal council, it's not that big a deal. He tells us that they have expendable numbers. If the 3 guys stick together, then they should be fine. I'm liking how this is tracking right now.
Why?
Because I got Rob to go.
Oh, you didn't think they were going to stay
And at least his tribe
together?
lost.
Okay.
So that's all I meant.
You had an option. I had Parvati going, so.
Yours was over.
Mine was over.
You're just making sure you don't lose safe points right now.
Yep. What did you think of Rob telling them they couldn't go off alone? That's how they would keep it together. Nobody goes off alone.
Super effective, and it seemed to cause some uncertainty with Sophie and Sarah for sure.
That wouldn't have worked with the girls. They'd have never listened to him. I don't think, do you? They'd have said,
I think they're
I'm not doing that.
less inclined. Yeah, they'd be
I
like,
have to go to the bathroom, and I'm not
no.
doing that.
Right.
Forget it.
Do you want to come? Yeah, the classic. So the guys all declare, I'm not writing your name down, and they all shake on it, and so it's set.
I thought, that's not true.
What?
I didn't believe they were going to stick with that. Was not convincing to me.
And they did, though. It seemed like that was actually the case from what everyone said.
Well,
We get shots of them there.
both Adam and Ben seemed annoyed and angry with Rob when they're the ones who didn't get up and leave camp.
Right.
They didn't have to do it his way. And they're angry at him because the Godfather said, we have to do it this way. It's like, no, you don't.
And Rob's pretty happy with how things are playing out. He says,
You're a grown man. Get up and leave if you want to.
one of his confessionals, that it's bringing the game back to him. So he's happy with how it's progressing. They're spending time talking about fair food, fried Twinkies, and whether or not you dunk your Oreos or not.
Well, my thought is if Rob does something like that and says, okay, we all agree and nobody goes off alone, and et cetera, then he needs to be up entertaining people. Do something. Make some kind of ball game, something. Entertain people. Don't let them just sit there and be bored.
Definitely didn't seem to be the case, though. Sarah said that Rob's energy was really negative there in camp.
Yep.
And that's when we end up getting the title about the buddy system on steroids.
Yes.
Sarah and Sophie go off and talk, and they're shaken a little bit by how this is playing out, and then they lose some of their confidence in Ben and Adam, I think.
Well, and Sarah willingly gives the half idol back to Sophie.
So all of the immunity idols are controlled by women.
Well, Jeremy's got an advantage. It's not an idol, but it might as well be.
It's not the same.
It can save him.
It could save him, but he loses the power to vote.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Those aren't equivalent. Now, you said the same thing when we were talking about it before. And
well, no, but it could save him.
could save him, sure.
So.
But the bigger point so this is improving the statistics, I guess, with regards to females finding idols. That's all it is. They're the ones who have them all.
Well, that is important.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Your choice is to immediately disprove it with the safety
Disprove
advantage.
it? Okay. All right. I thought, why was Jeff asking how this season's... Oh, well.
I think we mentioned it before, but I was tempted to wonder if Sophie, I think if they had gotten up and talked more, that Sophie could have potentially been in trouble. Sarah might have worked something up to get rid of Sophie.
I don't think she was even looking at that. That's it. That was a wish in your head.
Okay, all right.
And you ran with it.
I'm done then. What we do find out from hearing when Sophie and Sarah are talking is that there were evidently some winks and thumbs up when nobody was looking.
Okay.
So they did get some reassurance, albeit silent signals.
Yeah.
Okay, Tribal Council, night 14.
How is this season different?
Third of the way through it. What's your sense of the season, Sophie, versus last time? And she talks about intertwined relationships, something we'd heard before at another tribe.
Yep. Seems to be the theme.
Adam says, yes, everything's fluid in response to his question. It's all good.
And everyone's playing is very good.
Ben says that everyone's being super careful. And then Sarah...
Not to poke the bear.
Yeah. Sarah says that she didn't find a whole lot of cracks. There was only 7 words that she heard while they were in camp today. And Sophie said, it's about the same for me, maybe 8 words for me. And those 3 locked it down. And then she says, well, she doesn't so much like the word crack. But earlier in the episode, she was talking about the cracks. Yeah, when they first get there and they're looking at how things are set up.
I loved it when Sarah just turned to him and said, hey, does anybody want to work with Sophie and I? It's like, they made it very obvious that they would vote out Rob.
Sure.
But they left it open. I was thinking at one point, you should jump in there, Rob, and just name somebody. I'll go with you if you vote for Adam.
Nah, he was all in on his buddy system working for him. It had worked before, and so he was sticking with the plan.
Yes, and it works beautifully. But that was not a Winners at War season. And everybody's already seen it. So it doesn't work so good when everybody knows what you're doing.
I worked for Sandra. Anybody but me.
She's special.
I don't think so, but I understand where you're coming from. Rob seemed to manage the jabs that were coming his way pretty well. Yeah, the wedges, their opportunities, those are all good selling points, but this unlikely 3 from Sele has provided little room to hide.
It wasn't a given for me that they were going to vote for Rob because, no, the editors talked about having the numbers.
Yeah.
And Ben seemed to respond to that.
Yep.
That seemed to pull him back around. Well, we got these 2 easy vote-offs here, and I've never had that before. The boys talked about it back at camp. So he was playing it.
Yeah, Rob with his less is more, and he was holding the line.
Well, and Sophie just flat said, well, Rob won before by controlling people, which is they knew was a push button for Ben. big push button.
Yeah, they were.
Rob's
thought
been
she,
in control the whole time.
she heard that and made sure to
They
use
did.
it.
Those women fed their irritations back to them
Right.
at tribal council.
Rob was right there with an answer, though. Working together works.
It
How do you like
does.
that?
It works. I liked it. I did. I thought, well, he's still fighting,
And
hanging
that
in there.
came to the conclusion right there with a weird note from the violin. That was jarring, the way that came out when they went to go vote. We get to see Rob voting for Sarah and Sarah voting for Rob. So those are our two choices.
And Adam searches under the urn and around.
He
looks
actually
all around
struggled to put the
room.
top back on the urn. And does he did do a quick search of the voting booth there, at least a visual search. But it seemed more like he couldn't figure out how to get the top back on.
Okay.
So no
Chips.
hidden immunity idol plays, no
I
advantage
was-
plays.
Whoa.
One vote Sarah, one vote Rob, and then Rob, you're out of
Yep,
here.
You're out of here. Bye-bye. Stacy gets a 5-point week.
Second in a row.
That's right.
Sarah and Sophie exchange some quick smiles. Probst informs us there's no such thing as a simple vote. So it didn't seem to be simple, but it did end the way that seemed to make those four quite happy.
That's right.
What'd you think about the overall episode?
Excellent.
You know what I like the most?
No EOE.
There you go. There you go.
I
That's
know
right.
you. I knew exactly where you were going with that.
Yes. I mean, I know we'll see it again very soon, but they really needed to focus on the tribes, and they did. They didn't give in to that, which that made me very happy.
Yeah,
if
but
only we could have got another hour and could have got some day 13 time too.
now you're dreaming again.
Dreaming. Yeah.
Yeah. But they, gave them a good amount of attention last week, so. But they didn't do it 2 weeks in a row, so that was good for me.
Very good. Very good.
Excellent. Next on.
Adam tells us the wicked witch is dead, and they're
Oh.
off to have a good time.
We can do whatever we want now. It sounds like a child's
I don't.
response to the
It did.
parents going away for the weekend.
It did.
Oh, they can
So I'm not even
they can
sure
do
if
whatever.
that they could.
I know that's what that's
To say it that
just-
way makes you think, no,
I think
maybe
it sounded
not.
very childish to me. But okay, so and Jeff informs us that the two losing teams will go to tribal council,
I really like this.
and there will be double vote offs
That's
next
right.
week.
So you're gonna have to choose two vote offs when you go to make your picks. But I like the pressure and the shock that this induces,
Yes.
because you could tell it seemed to catch them off guard. At least that was my read on their responses to that. Speaking of EOE, we do get a quick scene on Next Time on Survivor where Rob's yelling for Tyson, asking him, "Ty, are you coming?" And Tyson says he's working on something sneaky and hilarious. So it didn't seem to necessarily be about a challenge that they had. It was just him working up some kind of practical joke, maybe, or
You got to do something with your time.
yeah, is that what it was?
Well, that would be mighty boring.
What do you think about Rob getting voted out right now? I thought he would go first.
Well-
I didn't think he would make the merge, so
Well, yeah, he's stayed in much longer than I ever thought he would in the beginning. But then I started to think, wow, he could go deep if he gets this. But
but
I'm not surprised with the shakeup. I just
Sophie
thought they
and
would
Sarah
target
changed
Parvati.
that.
Yes, they did.
Where Ben and Adam couldn't get it together. It's the smaller tribe, the smaller amount of people required to establish some trust,
That was the worst
and the build up.
spin for Rob to be on with that group.
Oh, he would have been
Even
better
though
off
they
like if
had
he had gotten to go with
the-
Parvati.
Yeah, the old Sele tribe
the resentment.
had the numbers. It was a
And
given.
he didn't have the social game to be able to smooth those things over with Ben and Adam.
Yeah, there was too
I think
much.
that's my takeaway.
There was just too much water under the bridge. Ben was already weeks before cringing every time
Well,
they
he'd been
didn't
stewing
vote.
the whole time, and
Yes.
he did nothing to fix that, to let that steam off. Rob wasn't able to address that part,
Yeah, so I'm not
that
surprised.
social element with Ben.
I thought it could very likely be Rob or Parvati. I just went with Parvati because they continued targeting her. So, But I didn't know how the tribes were going to play out.
Yeah, it's a big part of the mystery this
But
week,
yes,
for sure.
it's no big surprise. But the sad thing is it would be difficult for Rob and Amber. We don't know if more than one person will have the opportunity to come back or not. So
We don't know for sure, but very likely.
very likely, but it's unlikely that both of them will earn their way back.
That seems, I would agree. It was less likely anyway for Amber to be able to make her way back in. You never know how things are going to break in a challenge, though. You could get really lucky.
You really don't.
So you can't completely rule it out. But the chances are a lot less that there's $2 million going to their house now. And so I think that's really wise for those people in the game. And it was really interesting to see how just a little bit of time with Sophie and Sarah helped make that happen, along with the fractured relationships and the minimal social game that Rob had with Adam and Ben.
Do you think it's possible at some point that Amber would say, oh, I don't know that I can make it back against this group of people. I think I'll just raise the flag and
I guess that's possible. I don't know enough about...
make them let me call my girls.
Yeah, I don't know enough about her character.
Yeah, I don't know either.
From the little bits that we've been shown. So it seems like that's possible, although she seems like the type, too, that would really hang in there if there was any way she could help.
Well, I think they have to make
to be
it
the assist.
certain whether or not
and he would
there
do
will
that
be
for
another
her,
chance.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But anyway.
Rob gives his 2 fire tokens to Parvati. So now she's the richest person in the game with
I know it.
4 fire tokens.
So now we know Kim has a full idol. Sophie has a full idol. Parvati now has 4 tokens. And Rob has none.
And Denise has a full idol. Yep. And Sarah's got an advantage and Jeremy's got an advantage.
What changed?
Oh, okay. You're just doing the delta. Okay.
Yes.
So speaking of Parvati's 4 fire tokens, she would technically by herself be able to buy an advantage in the challenge for her tribe.
Yeah.
Were that to be something that she wanted to do, I guess. I mean, they could pull their tokens and do that as a group, too. So the way it's going to, let's just talk a little bit about what we're thinking about in terms of what will happen next steps. The next challenge, where the 2 losing tribes have to go to tribal council and vote someone out, so it'll be a double elimination. That means 2 people will have to sit out in that challenge. And we figured, okay, well, Sandra's going to be one, and maybe Parvati's going to be one to sit out for the challenge.
No.
There's only 4 in Yara, so each of the tribes has to sit someone out.
The 2 tribes will have to sit one person out.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant there would be 2 people, not per tribe.
When I asked you, I'm just trying to work through this. Yes. All right. Back on the same page. And when I asked you who you thought the other tribe would sit out, you said Parvati, which would be perfectly ironic for her to have to go share Sandra's sit-out bench.
Go share her bench.
Yeah. You can see Sandra race over there and say, here, I got a seat saved for you.
Well, I believe both Parvati and Michele will want to compete.
Possibly, yeah. You want your future to be in your own hands since they're potentially underdogs.
It depends on if there's a puzzle or something like that that Parvati's better at. Then they'll sit out probably Michele.
Although Michelle's done exceptionally well in puzzles, too. Not always won, but she's definitely done
I guess
well.
I would have to reserve judgment till I saw what the challenge was.
Okay.
But you would think they would sit out one of the girls, but not necessarily. If it's a balance in it or the puzzle that they think they need them both, then they'll sit out one of the guys.
Makes sense. So we're at 14 right now. We're going to vote out 2 more in the next cycle, next episode. So that'll take us to 12.
12.
So that means we're probably, the episode after that would be the merge.
Mm-hmm. Then they'll bring one back.
One will come back, so they'll go to 13 briefly, and then they'll go back down to 12 at the end of that.
That's what I'm thinking, episode. Which means even if Sandra's tribe loses, she's got an idol.
Yes.
It's good for one more tribal council
There's
that she goes to.
excellent chance that she'll make the merge at this point.
Well, yeah.
Which is when she starts to become most dangerous because she falls into the background.
And I thought, oh no, I've already used her like 5 times.
5?
Yeah, I
You
think.
got 5 on her already? Wow. That's going to be great.
Because I kept thinking they
Don't-
were going to target Sandra. But
And
I
they-
thought, no,
and
I'm
they
going to get a
will.
safe
I
point
think you're
before.
gonna-
Why they get? And then she got the idol, and I thought, well, I know she's safe. So
That's
I mean,
good. That's going to work out really well.
Well,
for
not
you.
if she goes to the end. It's not.
So you're really cheering
I have
for her to get voted
no
out.
Safe.
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No.
You're willing to sabotage your own game.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That
For
would-
Sandra to
I-
do well. I
yeah.
think that'd make her happy.
Just to see her do it would be,
Uh-huh.
phenomenal.
Okay,
That
that's one
anybody
word
would
for it.
let her get there, So if she does it, more power to her. Yeah, I'll suffer the consequences of my safe picks.
Speaking of safe picks, how about a JSFL update?
I can do that. Okay, there were 9 USBs lost tonight. Do Diddle is in first place with 24 points in
Doodiddle.
JSFL.
Doodiddle.
59 people lost a safe point this week. And congratulations to the 126 people who got a vote off point.
I suspect
Not
quite
me.
a few of those have been putting in Rob for the vote out
Like
all
you?
along. I have several times, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
did get a couple of safe points off of him before that, though.
The side challengers, 22 points. Tied for first is Jay Kindred, Jeremiah, and Stacy.
All right, 3 at the top.
With 21 points, Parker and Rebecca. 20 points, Cold Mike, Drew, Jack, Justin, Jonathan, and Slappy McGee.
Oh, the field's stretching out a bit.
Yeah. With 19 points, we have Brandon, Cameron, and Carl. And with 18 points, we have Chris supporting you all up.
That's right. Thank you, Chris. Keep that basement clean. I'm sure you'll have company soon. Do you have any predictions for next week?
Wow, which tribe is the strongest? Well, I have to admit, Sele was looking pretty strong in this challenge. So I wouldn't want to go up against them. So if they win again next week, yikes. The green tribe would really be down in numbers then. But that's okay if they did, because they'll do the merge right after, I think.
How do you think Yara will do without Rob?
In the challenge? Well,
Ben, Adam, Sarah, and Sophie for the green tribe, Yara.
depending on what it is, they could do okay.
Yeah.
So,
Rob hadn't been that instrumental in challenges, so he wasn't the clutch
well, he
winner
was
they were
trying
hoping.
to help them with the puzzle.
Yeah, they were actually you're talking about in this episode because
Yeah.
Yara was in the middle, so they had the benefit of looking to their left and their right to see what was working, and the other two tribes on the outsides may not have necessarily been able to do that. And Rob was checking out Sele's solved solution to see if he couldn't help his tribe, but they
I
couldn't
don't
get it together.
think they figured out that the top piece was the top piece like Parvati did. It's when you
So-
got to break something down.
So new Dakal with Jeremy, Denise, Tony, Kim, and Sandra. They sit Sandra out. You got Jeremy, Denise, Tony, and Kim. That should be a pretty good tribe.
Yeah.
That should be a pretty strong tribe. And then on New Sele, you've got Michele, Parvati, and then Wendell, Yul, and Nick. If they sit out Parvati or Michele, like you said, or one of the guys, that's going to be a pretty strong tribe too. So that's some pretty fierce competition. That's going to be kind of hard to decide
To
on.
predict.
Yeah,
Well, maybe they'll show us a little
because they've all got good.
snippet of the challenge.
They've all got good puzzle solvers, so it's not obvious if it comes down to a puzzle again. But I do like the twist where the two losing tribes are going to tribal.
I keep looking at the roster because I always look at the roster and I go, "Oh yeah, I have to wait for him to update it."
Yeah,
So I'm
yep, shortly.
trying to remember the people in my head.
But we are dependent on it, that's for sure.
We are a lot. We use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was a good episode. Anything else you wanted to say about the episode?
Another good one. Enjoyed it. Happy not to see Edge. I think I covered all that, didn't I? Yeah, it'll be back next
Yes,
week
you
to
did.
some degree. But
Sure.
I guess if you're a fan of Edge now, you're wondering, well, did they get any fire tokens and they just didn't show us? Were there no challenges? Because that was a 3-day cycle. Did they give them rest after the big log carrying challenge? What happened out there potentially? And no one seems to have gotten an offer of anything, so that suggests that they didn't have anything to barter with, at least not that we were shown.
True.
It's also possible that the transaction happened and it was a tribe that didn't go to tribal council, so therefore it wasn't significant and they didn't show it. So I guess that's something to look for.
Or it was another type of challenge where they didn't get something to sell, where they just got another fire token.
And we're thinking that we've got two more episodes and they'll have the first return challenge at the merge.
No, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there'll be one more episode, double a limb next week, and then the next week they're going to merge.
We're just coming
and
at
have
2.
the episode.
That's
gonna
what I meant by
happen.
2. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're just coming
I
at
thought
it
you meant 2
different
more
ways.
episodes and then.
Nope.
Okay. Alrighty. Then we are on the same
And
page again.
yeah, I enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed it.
My voice held up. Yay.
Yeah, that's good. And let's see, I wanted to mention, because people had asked, season 41 and 42 have been delayed at this point.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was pretty much a given it was going to happen that way.
Well, I don't know. I think in a pragmatic way, you're right. But with the lack of information that we've been dealing with here in the U.S., it wasn't necessarily that clear, although things are certainly becoming clearer now.
Yep.
So it says here in this article, and I'll include it in the show notes, production on season 41, which was slated to commence in Fiji on March 24th, is now scheduled to begin May 19th, and that in turn pushes production on season 42, which was originally slated to start on May 24th until later this summer. That's all they said. And they mentioned that with over 400 crew members flying in from 20 different countries, they needed to take some time to work out the logistics on that and make sure, although there haven't been any reported cases of the virus in Fiji yet, they wanted to make sure that they've got their process down, that they're not bringing something in.
Well, a lot of those people come out of Australia as well.
Yeah, and we were just reading while we were pulling things together, that Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, who are in Australia, just tested positive for COVID-19, and they're isolated through that protocol. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I don't have anything else to say about it right now. Yeah, definitely. Shelter in place right now.
Yep.
Well, we are looking forward to hearing what you thought about this episode and what predictions you may have on how this is going to play out for the double elimination. Who are you favoring? Because you got to make 2 vote-out picks. Who do you think is still playing a really good game? Who do you think's not going to make the merge? Just not going to do it. You got 2 more eliminations.
Okay, so the website has been prepared for the double elimination.
Steve's on it. He's ready. It's when that changes
He
over.
is on top of it.
Yep. So we'll be good to go. Just remember to make your 2 vote-out picks. And
your
safe.
4 safe picks.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to hearing what you thought about it. Who's playing the best game? Who you're worried about being eliminated? What did you think about not getting to see Edge? What else? All that good stuff.
Well, I want to talk about who we think will get voted out, but I'm going to wait till Paul gets the roster done. We'll talk about it on Saturday.
Okay. All right. Sounds
So
good.
I need the roster.
That sounds like a plan. Okay. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Keep your feedback in that 3-minute range, whether you write it up or you record it yourself, or you call the voicemail line at 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. Remember, you can get the best audio quality by doing the recording your own in a nice, quiet place. Minus the frying bacon. Although my way of making bacon is superior to Jody's, who, once again, did not get her feedback in. She recorded it and then didn't send it to us. So I would really, although I enjoyed
Why are you
it.
busting Jody's chops?
Well, I enjoy, because she makes bacon. There's a better way for her to make bacon. I just wanted her
see.
to know that. because that's important. And it would give her more
imagine
time
her
for other
family
activities.
Loves the way she
I'm sure they do.
fixes.
I do. I'm sure. In any case, we're looking forward to hearing from Jody and lots
So
of
yours
others.
is excellent.
We've been having just fantastic listener feedback shows. They're jam-packed, and we get people looking at the game from all different perspectives, and we hope you'll come be a part of that experience. We look forward to hearing from you.
Who was it that made you get the ribs? I mean, the wings.
Andrew, yes, I enjoyed some great wings. Thank you, Andrew.
He said, I got to have them.
Yeah.
Andrew talked about them, and now I've got to have them for this Wednesday night.
I made wings today, and they were delicious, and I ate them right before we watched.
Yes.
And I'm going to have some more after we get done.
Good deal. All right. Good night, everybody.
Have a good one.